Outdoor business ideas. You looking to start a business? Right on. You're at the right spot. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so if you are thinking of starting an outdoor business, looking for ideas, cool, I get it. I live in Colorado at about 10,000 feet, 30 miles from Vail, Aspen, and Breckenridge, right up in the high country. I love it, and that's my jam. So with this, I'm going to first off suggest we're going to go through 4 different steps, but first define what does success look like for you. I clearly identify the motivations. If you watch any of the other videos on this channel, I talk about this a lot because it is the cornerstone of a successful business. Making sure that you find something that you're going to be really happy with, that you're going to enjoy. What does your ideal life look like? So if you're looking to do, outdoor, great. Do you want to be traveling, or do you want to be fixed in your location? Do you want to be able to get a season pass and be able to travel around, and who knows, maybe you're doing some sort of support work for the ski areas, or maybe you're doing something in the summer where you're guiding. It depends on what it is. But with this, and this specifically addresses the whole person, you can go to our website at aspiringsolopreneur.com, and about halfway down there's a tool that doesn't cost you anything called the balance wheel. When you take this, it'll help you define on a holistic level, what do you want your life to look like? You need to start with this, because this is going to help you narrow down and define what your ideas are, so that it fits with the ideal life you want to be. The last thing, I worked in Vail for years, and I had season ski pass, lived at the base of the mountain. It's awesome. Except I worked 90 hours a week, and it sucked because I was making a lot of money and I drank too much. And so I lost sight of what success really looked like for me. So now, living outside of Leadville, I get to ride my bike 5 days a week. We go hiking. I feel like the luckiest cat on the planet, but it's because I built my life to make that work. Now, I don't work in the outdoor industry. I specifically work as a coach and consultant. I work with leaders all over the world, and I help empower people to achieve their dreams, but I've been able to achieve my dream by doing that virtually so I can live here. So this is where if you start to define what does success look like for you, it's going to help narrow down the focus on what that could be, or what your ideas could be. Now, the next piece, let's go through and define what is it that you're great at, and list out the areas of expertise. Now, maybe it has nothing to do with outdoors. That's okay. Maybe you're a great salesman, or maybe you're great at bookkeeping or accounting, or I don't know, training. But list out all the things that you're really exceptional at. Start there. Just whiteboard it or put it on a big piece of paper, or that's me, old guy, I like to write, but you write it out, whatever it is. Then the next line, or go through and define what are the areas that you're interested in. So if you happen to be amazing at sales, and you really like shooting shotguns, or you like skiing or mountain biking, or who knows what it is, there's ways that you can potentially integrate those two. So maybe you're great at sales, maybe you handle the booking, maybe you love being a mechanic, maybe who knows what those things are. We had the Leadville 100 last weekend. If you were a great bike mechanic, you could have set up a mobile shop and I think made a killing. So again, it depends on what you're looking for. But first off, list out the areas that you're an expert in. Second, what are the areas of expertise? Now, if there's areas that don't jibe, they don't line up, okay, you may have to create another one that says, do I need to get some more education, certification, experience in? And if that's the case, well, then you're building to where you want to be. Now, the next step is, once you start to smoke these two things out, is start to go out and talk with others. See if you can find anybody else that's living the life you're living. They may say, oh my God, that looks great. And then they turn around and say, yeah, I like living in my van. It's cool, and I get to travel, and I do a lot of hiking, but it's lonely. Or I wish I had this, or I wish I had that, and maybe it doesn't work. I personally think, actually, in my latest book, spoiler alert, that's exactly what we talk about. But how do you find that ideal dream job for you, not according to anybody else? And this is where, again, you start figuring these steps out. But talk with others who are doing it. And if you're thinking about hitting the van life world, or you want to be remote, or you want to live someplace, then figure out a way to go work. If you're looking in the woods or resort communities, my goodness, you have to be a complete and total idiot not to get a job. It may not be a huge career job, but you get something that lives, so you can come be a ski bum, you can be whatever those are, but you can use those as a way of exploring what looks like I'm interested in learning about this, or I'm trying to do that. It'll help you start figuring it out so you can start doing your research. And this is where you start asking questions. Who's living this life that you're thinking about? Maybe you just go visit and talk to people. Maybe you start reaching out on the internet, maybe you start talking to people in other ways. If you have been able to narrow down what your specific niche is, maybe you start talking to people who would value that, or who are already doing that, and they may have the opportunity to give you overflow work, or maybe they'll subcontract with you. But it'll help you to start figuring out what works and what doesn't with them. Now, if you get close with an idea, I'm going to encourage that you don't actually do the whole thing. Get it about 80% of the way there. And then start talking to people, not with the intention of selling them, but with the intention of seeing what interests they have, and then maybe they would adjust it. So maybe say, yeah, I would really like to be a backpacking guide. Okay, I love backpacking. Yeah, and I could take people on the Colorado Trail. Cool. I don't know that people are going to pay that much. Some might, but then we can start thinking about, well, who would value that? And you start thinking, well, I could talk to all the concierges in Vail or Aspen or, wherever, and say, do you have people who are ever wondering about how to backpack? And then you could say, okay, then you could buy your own gear. You say it, and I will do, and then I have a certification in this and as a EMT, and I'm licensed and bonded, and it'll help you figure out what are all the pieces that suddenly says, okay, I want to be out in the woods and I want to guide people on a trail. Good. But I don't know how much people are going to pay. But if you can say, look, I'm experienced, I'm an EMT, I'm licensed and bonded, and you get somebody from like a Vail concierge that says, yeah, we'll do this, and I'll take a family out for $500 a day. That would be pretty fun. That's interesting. So it's a matter, though, of you figuring out and talking to people about what it is they're looking for, and then figuring and going back and forth between what your expertise is. If you have gaps, how do I improve that? What are the areas that I have interest in? And then how can I find out what people are looking for and how do they want to get it? Now, the last step with this is making sure that once you start to do this, you're just smoking out the ideas. You're not there. Maybe you have some people who verbally committed to some things, but you're going to need to build out the whole business. And that includes your insurance. That's going to include taxes and compliance and all the federal work and everything else. Not that hard. Don't freak out. Again, in other channels on this, or other videos on these channels, we talk about how to build your team of advisors, how to find the right people, how do you build a flawless business plan so that when you say, yeah, you know what, I'm ready to go, it's a no-brainer, and you'll get there. But again, if you're thinking about what are the different ideas for business that can take me outdoors, the big question is listing out what are the things that you love, what are you an expert in, and how are people going to value it. So if you found any value in this, please, like, subscribe, and if you have questions, don't be afraid of reaching out at aspiringsolopreneur.com. Keep smiling.